Start my introduction to the build lead speedrun. I usually change it to the auto follow camera too, because that gives you a better view of where you're kind of going. And for the first stage, what I do is I get probably one salad, one gauze. And then a relaxation CD. So the first stage is kind of scary because you kind of lack the funds. And then the various other stages you can kind of decide how you want to divvy up your money and what you need to buy. So now you could put it on whatever camera you want. I just use auto follow too because it's easier. So go straight for the monitor. It's right here up in this corner here. So I guess I should explain a few things. The horror monitor lets you see these traps that are set all down. So you can flag them so you don't run smack into them like that. And then once you get them, it gives you a little bit of adrenaline back. The horror monitor uses up 10 adrenaline for every time you just use it. And then for every flag you trap, I think it's like 25, 30. Also, you have the green bar is your health. And then you have your sensor bar up at the top. So sight, hearing, smell, sixth sense. Sixth sense usually means that there's an item or a battle nearby. And as you get near a trap, it'll go up. So if you don't flag a trap, let's see if we run into one here. You get scared, and then your heart rate goes up. If your heart rate goes up too high, you die. If it gets past 200, you faint for about 5 minutes. And then, let's see, brain's the adrenaline, green's your health bar, and then your heart meter there. Most of the run is pretty simple. It's just mostly learning where the traps are, what patterns to follow. From that first trap there, we could tell that the light bulb one is pretty good. So there's two types of traps. There's set traps, and then there are random ones, which aren't really random. It's just there's certain patterns. So there's about 4 patterns for each stage for the traps, except for the second stage where you can visibly see most of the traps. Like I said, there's set ones, like this one right here. Not this one, but that was one of the random ones. But there's one right there. That will always be there, no matter which run through you go through. And you can flag it, but see, what I'm doing, a lot of the tech for this is basically hugging walls and hugging the right walls at the right time. So see, as I'm hugging this wall, I won't get it. But as soon as I come off the wall, it flags it. So a lot of Illbleed's speedrun tech is basically hugging the right walls at the right time. And then sometimes there's a trap here. This is not going to be on this pattern, so you can pretty much just run straight through. I found the pattern for the first one. So you could either get the light bulb at the beginning of that hallway, that first hallway there. Actually, I'll just go back and show you. And then once I get done with this, I'll chop it up and put it on YouTube. So on this first hallway here, there's 3 different patterns you can get. The one we got is the OK pattern. It works. So you can get this first or second light bulb here, I believe, is one of them. And then if you run into the door, I believe it's this one right here. There's a trap, and then you can tell which pattern you get. So this would be pattern A. I call this one C because that's the one you don't want, because it's all the worst traps that you can get. And then the one we got was this last one here. So that's a good one to have. Also. And like I said, if you just hug the wall, you tend to skip a lot of the traps. Oops. Also, the run mechanic's kind of weird because instead of... so if you just press forward like that and then you push the analog all the way down, you don't run. But if you push the analog all the way down, you just start your run. You just start to run. There's a bat right here. If you want to upgrade there's an iron heart right over here. I believe right here, which upgrades your heartbeat meter, so you don't get as scared as easily. You normally during a speed run you don't upgrade. But if you want to run like New Game Plus, I suggest upgrading your character because it makes the New Game Plus a lot easier. So in here there's a nitroglycerin and a steak you can get. They're always here. It really doesn't cost too much time to pick them up, and since you're kind of lacking on the items, I highly recommend picking them up. You can also take a safety save if you need to. Right here. So you take the safety save, if need be. Really shouldn't have to. Maybe like during your first couple runs, might be recommended. But like I said, again, most of this is just hugging the wall and knowing which traps to avoid and which walls to switch over to. And again, you can see what traps coming up. Sixth Sense, there's some type of item in here. Most of the time you can just hug the wall. And skip the majority of these. So I believe on this pattern that should trigger, and then if we were to get that, what I call the C pattern, there would be a fight right here. But there's not. So on this pattern, that will always trigger. And then there's a stake right here you can pick up. Again, it doesn't cost like literally any time to pick it up. That doorway usually always has a trap. And then in here, you come in here, you pick up the testimonial, the testimonial, flag the fan there, and then you'll run into what I call the meat wad here, or somebody else called it buff wad. Generally in the fights, you just don't want to... Just go ahead and avoid most of them. Sometimes, occasionally, they'll just be on you. And there's nothing you can do other than fight them. But for the majority of them, yeah, you just generally want to just avoid them. Alright, so here is... so I believe this one, and I believe these right here. And you fall down there, which is most amusing. Again, like I said, most of the they're random, but they're not. They're all in set patterns. So once you play the game enough, you kind of know. Alright, so there's a fight right here. But if we're lucky... I've been trying to figure out a consistent way to skip this fight. And if you get it just right... So in this doorway... let me see here. If I can... So this is the doorway right here. If you were to get any closer, you would trigger that fight. So it's a pretty narrow... a lot of these traps are very narrow to skip. Let's see, like, if I take one step out... Hey, what's up, Heavy Mana Beast 2? Yeah, I'm doing a speedrun guide. But if you get close... So it's super narrow to skip that fight. Run away from Meatwad there. And if, like I said, if you take one extra step, you get that trap. But if you just, you know, hug the wall there and just kind of maneuver around that corner, you can skip it every time. I haven't been too consistent about doing it. That was more of a recent one that I kind of found. I don't know if I had that on my PV video.
Cool.
The ending will be the what I call the bad ending, where you skip all your friends. I guess I should mention that. So there's 3 different endings. There's an ending where you save all your friends. There's an ending where you don't save all your friends on your first playthrough. Well, you save one of your friends, I should say. And then there's New Game Plus ending, where if you skip all your friends, you get what I call the true ending of the game. Fortunately, that is not a good run, because to skip saving Kevin, you have to wait exactly 50 minutes for him to die. And there's no other way to do it. You just have to wait for him to die. So you come in here, go to that room, pick up a trophy. There's always 2 dummies in here, so they're right there. If you trigger the trap before the fight, you don't get scared, so you don't get that knockdown. And then you can automatically run to the helicopter pad and start screaming for help. This one's a set trap, it's always there. Doesn't matter what run you do, it is always there. And with the helipad, you don't have to stand exactly on it. You can be like a foot off and still... pretty much wait for it. There's also a gauze down here in case you need it. So gauze is pretty much the best healing item to stop bleeding, because it cures your bleeding stuff up to 40. So you have bleeding, which will cure it all the way. You have your nitroglycerin, which is, it makes your pulse go all the way back down to 50. Relaxation CD. Let's see, what is it? Was it? I think it's 40.